Welcome back to Rock Island Line Express, where I try to bring you important city meetings in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Annika O'Melia, and I missed the July 28th City Council update. Today I'm bringing you the August 11th City Council meeting update. These meetings have been very long lately, so I'm not sure I will be able to do this in 5 minutes or less. I might need to amend to say 10 minutes or less. The meeting was called to order. All the City Council members and the mayor were present. They stood for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, and then moved into the awards and honor presentation section. The Rock Island Preservation Society did a presentation on their Historic Preservation Awards. Next up was the public comment section. Most of the comments were about four things. One, objection to the development at the Mylan Bottoms, mostly coming from those concerned about the environment and threats to the wildlife there. There were concerns about the moratorium on homelessness and social services in downtown Rock Island. Folks stating that the moratorium, in objection to the moratorium, saying that we need to allow services to continue for some of our most vulnerable population. A gentleman spoke about the need to put parking lines on 38th Street near Aldi, where he sees frequent car accidents. And a gentleman spoke about the importance of the fire sprinkler system in the way that building materials burn these days, that those sprinklers really do protect life and property. Moving on to the Rock Island update, Mayor Harris talked about Thursday Night Grooves at Schwiebert Park that begins this Thursday. Concert runs from 7 to 9, and it's a weekly concert series with live music, food, and riverfront views. Alternating Currents starts August 14th through August 17th, features music, film, comedy. There are some new murals going up by Matthew Mirror and Lorenzo Fontanella, and you can find the full schedule at alternatingcurrentsqc.com. The 11th annual Polyrhythms Bill Bell Jazz and Heritage Festival is August 22nd through the 24th at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. And the free 3-day event will feature jazz, local Black authors, youth performances, a book fair, food, and vendors. The 41st annual Rock Island Labor Day Parade theme is Rocking the Arts, and parade entry deadline is August 18th. An ordinance was passed amending Chapter 4 of the Building Regulations of the Municipal Code. This brought us from using a 2015 code up to a 2021 code and restructured parts of the code to make it easier to reference and understand. An ordinance amending the International Residential Code and removing a requirement for fire sprinkler systems in 1- and 2-family houses passed. So in Rock Island, you are no longer required to put in a fire sprinkler system in a 1- or 2-family new build. An ordinance establishing regulations on urban agriculture was postponed until the November City Council meeting. This ordinance relates to restrictions on how people can do urban farming and gardening, things like the height of your plants, the part of your property you can plant on, how far back from the street you have to be. Sounds like there were some disagreements between wards, and so this is being postponed to further look into until November. Ordinances related to installing handicap parking spaces in front of homes were passed. Race routes for the Quad City Running Club to hold their annual TBK Quad City Marathon were passed. The mayor filed a veto of the ordinance that passed last city council meeting, which took away his power to be the liquor commissioner and gave that back to the city council. Because the mayor vetoed that ordinance, it required that there be a majority, 2/3 majority, to overrule his veto, and that failed. And so the mayor retains his power to act as the liquor commissioner in the city of Rock Island. The city council looked at 3 development agreements and voted to suspend the rules and pass these ordinances on their first reading. One is for the development agreement with the city of Rock Island and Skip Along Community Services for their new building and partnership with Friendship Manor and an early learning facility on 11th Street. The next one is for a development agreement with Fresh Films for the purchase of land and hopefully the building of a film studio or something related to that near the Rock Island Rock Island Public Schools Administration Building in Rock Island. And finally, a development agreement with Moskowitz, Grabow, and Hughes. And so all those development agreements were unanimously approved and are moving forward. An ordinance from the Public Works Department regarding a rate increase for residential refuse and yard waste services was actually postponed indefinitely. The folks in the Public Works Department think they can come up with other ways to cover those costs rather than an increase on those services. Additional handicap parking space readings were approved to consider these ordinances. And something I didn't quite understand, but a report from the city attorney regarding a special ordinance for the disposal of surplus property and the execution of a hold harmless agreement, that was passed. On the consent agenda, those are things that usually automatically pass without a lot of discussion. You can always go into the City of Rock Island's website, look at the agenda, and you can look at things like the check register, payroll expense reporting, automatic transfer of funds, the credit card bill. So you can go in and actually look at stuff like that if you want to, and that stuff is usually just approved by the city council when they get those reports. There were also some consent agenda items to close down streets for parties, to use sound amplification systems, to hold a Labor Day parade advisory board meeting, and to approve minutes from previous city council meetings in open and closed session. Furthermore, city council approved different purchases with Vermeer Midwest for a trailer, for water repair, sewer repair lines. So you can also see those on the city council's within the body of the meeting minutes if you're interested in those claims and purchases that are approved. A contract with IDOT Intergovernmental Agency was approved for street maintenance. There was an adjustment to the Fleet Amortization Fund budget adjustment in the amount of $16,000. City Council met briefly as the Rock Island Port Authority for an update from Tom Flaherty. There was no new business, and the meeting was adjourned. That is the summary of the August 11th, 2025 Rock Island City Council meeting. You can watch the entire City Council meeting on the City of Rock Island website. They also have the agenda and the minutes listed there. You can go into those and look at really detailed information on basically everything they cover. So if you're looking for what is a development agreement, what's in it, what do the meeting minutes say from last month, or the last meeting, you can actually go in and see all that stuff there. So if anything I talked about today is interesting to you, I encourage you to go check out the minutes and the documents and take a look for yourself. As always, thank you for listening to Rock Island Line, and we will see you next time.